A book is a great way to build your business. A book can really brand your business and set you apart from your competitors. Today, you're going to learn how you can use your book to set yourself apart and become a category of one so you stand out from everyone else in your niche because you're the author. You're the person who wrote the book. Hi, I'm Dan Janal. I've written more than a dozen books that have been translated into 6 languages. I'm a book strategist, which means that I'm a ghostwriter, book coach, and developmental editor. And no matter where you are in the writing process, I can help you write and finish your book. Now, let's get started. Our guest is April O'Leary, the president of April O'Leary Publishing. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Great. I noticed that you're a hybrid publisher who sets herself apart from all the other hybrid publishers because you do more marketing and business consulting than the average publisher. Not to say that the other ones don't, but you really specialize in helping your clients get ahead with a book that can build their business. Why don't you tell us about your process?
That's a great question. Building your business with a book is essential in today's busy marketplace. There are so many people that do probably similar jobs and have similar expertise to what you do. And so writing a book is a way to elevate yourself and create other opportunities for income, for being on podcasts, for speaking, for using it as a lead generation tool. And so for us, we really help our authors not only publish their book, but think about how is this book going to serve your brand? How is this book going to elevate you? And how are you going to use it to open new doors?
Great questions to ask. Do you find that most of your clients or prospects come to you with those answers set in mind, or do you have to walk them through and coach them so they can see the possibilities?
You know, most authors, and maybe you've experienced this as well, when they start writing a book, they are thinking mostly about themselves. They're not really thinking about the reader. What is the reader's problem? How am I going to solve that problem with the book? And by solving that problem for the reader, I then elevate myself as an expert, as someone that's a trusted individual who might be able to help them with something else. And so when authors come to us, we really help them think through the process of who is your reader and what is their problem? And then how are you going to solve that problem with your book? And how is that going to support your brand? How is that going to support the larger vision of what you're trying to do with this book now that you have it?
We are totally in sync. I tell my clients and prospects all the time that the only reason why someone reads a book is to solve a problem. And you're hitting the nail right on the head there with the idea that the book needs to solve problems, and you, as the publisher, can focus them on the needs of what's in it for them as opposed to what's in it for me. What's in it for me, of course, is building the business with the book, but to get people to read it and to buy into you, you're solving their problems. So let's talk about some of the problems that people have in writing their books. I spoke to a gentleman recently who wanted to write a book, wanted to help the world, wanted to make the world a better place. And I thought we were all set to work together. And he said, I don't think I have enough experience and enough stories to write a book. Granted, he only went to Yale undergraduate and Harvard Medical School and had 25 years experience as a doctor, but he didn't think he had enough experience to write a book or stories. Well, how would you work with someone like that to build their confidence so they could write a book?
Well, first of all, I would say to that particular person that if you're not the person to do it, then tell me who is. because,
Love it.
because if that's the standard we're holding for qualifications to write a book, we may as well just unpublish all of our books right now. But, for me, I think the experience of self-doubt is just a human experience. We all have that. Am I good enough? Is what I say valid enough? Are people going to like what I say? Am I going to embarrass myself by putting this out there? I think the encouragement I offer to all authors is that you have and bring to the table your own experiences. You've gone through your own struggles. You've hurdled some of the things and challenges that others haven't hurdled yet. And so you're speaking to people where they are at a specific point in their career. And granted, there are certain books that maybe you read 10 years ago that were so much like light bulb moment at the time. And now you would go back and be like, oh, I know that, that's old news, right? So in the process of becoming an author, we have to say, where I am now, there are people who are still struggling to get here. And so I want to help those people who maybe are who I was 10 years ago, and think of it that way. And then the people who are ahead of me, you know, for this doctor, maybe he's got colleagues that have been practicing medicine for 20 years longer than him. Maybe they're not going to be interested in his book, and that's okay. So he is going to think about what are the challenges and hurdles he's already overcome, and what value can he offer to people who aren't quite where he is yet. And I think that gives us the courage to say, yeah, what I say matters. My struggles that I've overcome, those are important. And my voice is something that can help shine a light for others to kind of find their way to where I am.
I love it. I think you've really encapsulated it perfectly, that lots of people have the imposter syndrome, even people with great, incredible credentials. And that's something that we all need to overcome. And that's the role of the publisher and the book coach and the developmental editor and the ghostwriter and the whole team. It really takes a team to put a book together. How does your team work with authors to help them discover their stories and tell their truths?
That's a great question. We have a team of people, and we are very specific in building the book from start to finish. You know, some people come to us with just an idea. They don't have anything written yet. And like you, we kind of help them think through who's their reader, mapping out what is the plan. I find that some people that want to write that get stumped into that imposter syndrome, or they don't know what to say, it's because they don't have a plan. They haven't mapped anything out. And so looking at a blank page or a blank computer screen can feel very overwhelming. But just like a long drive to a remote place, if you have your Waze app on and you type that location, you know, you just go a few miles at a time and make your pit stops along the way, and you eventually get there. But you have to program in, where am I going? So once the writing process is done, we take them through the editorial. Then we move into the design phase, which is really creating that perfect packaging that represents who you are. You know, some people want their picture on the cover. That's great. Some people want a certain meaningful image. Some people are open to what is the genre specific marketing look like right now, which we always encourage our authors to look at. What is selling right now in your niche, and how can we push your book right alongside those kind of design techniques? And it's really hugely important, especially if you're working with a hybrid publisher or you're trying to self-publish, that you work with a designer who is a book designer. It is not enough to upload a Word document and call that the interior of your book. So that is I'm a book judge actually for a national awards contest. And it's surprising the number of people who what they would call a book, and I'm saying that in quotes, doesn't represent at all the quality of a book you might find at Barnes & Noble. So try to focus on quality, the look and feel of it. And then at the end, how is that marketing piece going to work? How is that going to serve my brand? How is this going to open doors? And thinking that through from start to finish so that you know that your reader has a great package that's building credibility for you. When they read it, the editorial is nearly flawless, because no one wants to read a book that's a bunch of garbage, right? And that's not going to do anything to serve you and your brand. And then finally, what are you going to do to get the word out about your book? You need a website, you need some social media, you need to do a launch party. Are you going to do the launch online? Are you going to do the launch in person? Are you going to do a blog tour? Are you going to do a podcast tour? Are you going to do press releases? So it's really on the project management side of how we work with authors to help them figure all of these things out, because there are a lot of pieces to take you through from writing to successful launch to marketing for the long haul.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there, a lot of great advice there in terms of the marketing and such. I want to pick up on one particular point. I think in Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink, he said that someone can look at an art critic can look at a piece of art and see immediately if it's counterfeit or if it was done by a student in the style of that person and whatever, as opposed to the actual real piece. And I think you hit the nail on the head again there when you say that someone can look at a book and say, this really isn't a book. It's a Word file. the spacing isn't right, the alleys aren't right, the cover doesn't look right. It's just as important that when you write a book and publish a book that reflects positively on your brand, because the worst thing you can do is have a book that reflects negatively on you. If people see your book and it does look amateurish, they'll see you as being amateurish too. So I'm glad you brought up all those points and all those people that are needed to make the book a success for you. So April, tell us, who is your ideal client and how can they get in touch with you?
Well, we work specifically with nonfiction authors, people that are writing inspiration, self-help memoirs, academic pieces, people who are aspiring speakers, who have a brand that a book could help to elevate them, or who simply want to make a career shift. We've worked with a number of authors who have done well in their profession. They want to totally shift gears, and a book is a way to do that. And the best ways for someone to get in touch with us is to go to o'learypublishing.com. We have a free book there called The Influencer's Path to Successful Publishing. They can download that. It gives them the idea of how to go from idea to published manuscript and all the publishing options available. Fortunately, we have so many today. And it's not a one size fits all. We work with certain types of authors and people, and we're not for everybody. So I always like to say there is someone who can help you. And if you go searching for it, you will find it.
Great. Thank you for your wisdom and advice today. I'm sure you'll help a lot of people. And you can find more than 100 videos on our website to help you write your book in a flash. Check them out.